I'm Britney James, and I help consumers understand, protect, and enforce their financial and credit rights. If there's any error on yours, we will fix it. For more info, click the link in our bio or comment section below to speak to one of our licensed attorneys for help. Imagine this: you're finally buying your dream home. The mortgage is approved, closing day arrives, and then the title company calls. There's a court judgment against you, a lien sitting on your property for tens of thousands of dollars. The catch? You never went to court. You never got a summons. You didn't even know you were sued. This is not a hypothetical. This happens every single day across America, and it happened to you because of something called a default judgment. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes because I'm going to break down exactly what a default judgment is, the sneaky ways debt collectors get them without your knowledge, and your 3 concrete options to fight back, including one that could wipe the entire thing out like it never existed. Welcome back to Consumer Warrior, the channel where we arm everyday people with the legal knowledge that debt collectors hope you never have. I'm your AI legal analyst, here to decode the legal system in plain English. No jargon, no $1,000 consultation fees. Just real information that can protect your finances, your home, and your future. Today we're going deep on default judgments. If you've ever received a scary letter, had your wages garnished out of nowhere, or found out a lien exists on your home, this video is made for you. And this issue matters now more than ever, because credit card debt is rising across America. Millions of people are leaning on credit cards just to survive everyday costs: groceries, rent, gas, medical bills, emergency expenses, and basic household needs. But when those balances become impossible to keep up with, missed payments can quickly move from late fees, to collections, to lawsuits. And once a debt collector files a case, one missed court deadline can turn ordinary credit card debt into a default judgment that follows you for years. And if you haven't had this happen yet, stay anyway, because understanding this process now could save you from a financial disaster later. Real quick, if you find this helpful, hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube this information matters, and it helps us reach more people who desperately need it. Content block 1. What is a default judgment? So, what exactly is a default judgment? When someone, a debt collector, a creditor, a lender, decides to sue you, there's a legal process that kicks off. And today, a large portion of these lawsuits are connected to unpaid credit card balances. As credit card debt continues to rise across America, more accounts are being charged off by banks, sold to debt buyers, and pushed into the court system. That means what may have started as a few missed minimum payments can eventually become a lawsuit with very real legal consequences. They file a complaint with the court. The court issues a document called a summons, and then by law they are required to physically deliver those documents to you. This step is called service of process. Once you've been served, the clock starts ticking. In most states, you have somewhere between 20 and 30 days to respond in writing to that lawsuit. That written response is called an answer. Here's where it gets dangerous. If you don't file that answer within the deadline, you automatically lose. Not because a judge heard the evidence, not because a jury deliberated, but simply because you didn't show up, or didn't even know you were supposed to show up. That's a default judgment. A legal ruling entered against you by default, meaning by your absence, not on the merits of the case. And here's the wild part: that judgment carries full legal weight. The creditor can use it to garnish your wages, freeze your bank account, and file a lien against any real estate you own. All without ever having to prove in open court that you actually owed the money. Let that sink in. They don't have to prove their case. They just have to wait for you to miss the deadline. Content block 2. How did you get one without knowing? Now you're probably thinking, how could I have a judgment I knew nothing about? Great question. And the answer reveals exactly how broken parts of the debt collection system actually are. The law requires that you be personally served, someone physically handing you the documents at your home. But debt collectors don't always follow through. They use process servers who sometimes make sloppy attempts, file affidavits claiming service was completed when it wasn't, or leave documents with neighbors, at old addresses, or just don't try very hard. And when they genuinely can't locate you, courts will often grant something called an alternative service order, a special permission slip that lets them serve you in non-traditional ways. We're talking about taping a copy to your front door, mailing it to an old address, posting a legal notice in a newspaper that nobody reads, and in some cases now, emailing it to an address you might have created in 2007 and never checked again. Each of these methods is technically legal, but they're also methods almost designed to ensure you never actually find out, so you go about your life completely unaware. 20 days passes. The creditor walks back into court, says they didn't respond, and a judge signs off on a default judgment. Years go by. That judgment sits there, silently accruing interest at 10% per year or more in some states. A debt that started at $3,000 can balloon to $6,000, $8,000, $12,000, all while you're completely in the dark. And with credit card interest rates already high, many people are trapped before the lawsuit even begins. The balance grows, late fees pile on, collection costs get added, and by the time a judgment is entered, the amount claimed in court can be far higher than what the person originally spent. That is why ignoring credit card debt is dangerous. Not because every debt collector is right, but because silence can give them the legal power to act. Content block 3. Your 3 options. Alright, you've discovered a default judgment exists against you. Maybe you found it on your credit report. Maybe a title company flagged it. Maybe your paycheck suddenly came up short. So what do? You have exactly 3 paths forward. Let's walk through each one. Option 1. Challenge it in court. File to vacate. If the debt collector cut corners when they served you, if the process was defective, if they didn't comply with the court's alternative service order to the letter, you may have solid legal grounds to have the entire judgment thrown out. This is called a motion to vacate the default judgment. You go back to the court that entered it, present proof that the service was improper, and ask a judge to wipe the slate clean. And here's the beautiful part. Courts don't have discretion here. If you can prove improper service, they are legally required to vacate the judgment. Doesn't matter if it's 5 years old. Doesn't matter if interest has been compounding. That entire inflated number gone. Now vacating the judgment doesn't erase the lawsuit. The case gets reset back to square one, and you now have the chance to actually defend yourself or negotiate a settlement on the original principal amount. That is a massive, massive advantage. Option 2. Negotiate a settlement. If the service looks legitimate, maybe a family member accepted the paperwork, maybe the documentation holds up, then your best path may be settlement. Debt buyers purchase old debt portfolios for pennies on the dollar. The company suing you might have paid 5 cents for every dollar they claim you owe. That means there is often serious room to negotiate, sometimes settling for 40%, 50%, or even less of the total judgment amount. You can negotiate a lump sum payment or a payment plan. Either way, getting a written settlement agreement and a satisfaction of judgment filed with the court is critical. Don't pay anything without it in writing. Option 3. Bankruptcy. The nuclear option. If the debt is overwhelming, if you have multiple judgments, or if the numbers just don't work, bankruptcy is a legitimate and powerful legal tool that many people overlook out of fear or stigma. A Chapter 7 bankruptcy can discharge credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, and yes, it can eliminate default judgments and remove judgment liens from your home in most cases. It's a legal fresh start that exists specifically for situations like this. 3 options: challenge it, settle it, or discharge it. Every situation is different, and the right move depends on your specific facts. Before we wrap up, I need to ask you something. Do you know someone dealing with a debt lawsuit, a wage garnishment, or a judgment lien? Someone who's stressed out and doesn't know where to turn? Send them this video. Seriously. One share could change someone's financial life. It costs you 10 seconds and might save them thousands of dollars and years of stress. Point to camera, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We drop consumer law content every week designed to level the playing field between everyday people and the debt collection industry. Close and final CTA. Here's your takeaway from today's video, written down somewhere you won't lose it. 1. A default judgment happens when you don't respond to a lawsuit in time, and you may not have even known you were sued. 2. These judgments can sit on your record for 10, 20, even 30 years, growing with interest the entire time. 3. You have 3 paths: vacate it if service was improper, settle it for less than owed, or eliminate it through bankruptcy. None of these paths are something you should try to navigate alone. The debt collection industry employs armies of attorneys. You deserve someone in your corner too. If you're dealing with a default judgment right now, the worst thing you can do is ignore it. It does not go away. It gets worse. Take action, get informed, and come back to this channel, because knowledge is the most powerful weapon you have. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp. I'm Britney James, and I help consumers understand, protect, and enforce their financial and credit rights. If there's any error on yours, we will fix it. For more info, click the link in our bio or comment section below to speak to one of our licensed attorneys for help.